how to replace a valve cover gasket on a 2017 Chevy Sonic with a 1.8 liter engine. So what you're gonna need for this job is the valve cover gasket, some rags, brake cleaner, ultra black gasket maker, flathead screwdriver or something to pry with, and also you need a 3/8 ratchet, a Torx 40, and an E-Torx 10. Also you can use a 3/8 impact if you need. You're also going to need a 10mm socket to remove your negative battery terminal. So replacing the valve cover gasket is a pretty simple job, especially on this engine where there's nothing really above the valve cover gasket. So you will need to remove anything above it, which will be these wires, also this air hose, and this cover, and also remove your ignition coils. So to remove this air pipe, you have this squeeze mechanism right here, and it allows you to just squeeze it and pull it straight up. Now you'll need your T40 to remove your ignition coil pack. But first you want to disconnect the wire. And also you want to pull these wires up. Move them out the way. And all your ignition coils come up as one. Now you want to move these wires out the way, and they just pop out of place. And just create some space for the valve cover gasket to come up. Out, and it should just pop straight back. Just like that. Then you're going to take that, push it out the way. So there are 11 bolts total holding the valve cover to the engine, 10 on the perimeter and 1 in the middle. You'll need an E10 to remove those. You'll also need to work around these wires. See if they don't move very much. That you should be able to pull the valve cover up. You may need to pry at it using a flathead and also maneuver it around the wires to get it out. This one is pretty loose, so I'm gonna pop it straight up. And that's it. You can remove your old gasket. So the reason this one is leaking is because they used a lot of gasket makers, which it doesn't need this much. That's probably the reason why this valve cover was leaking. So next what you want to do is clean the surface of your valve cover, and also clean the surface of the engine head before you put the new valve cover gasket on and the new gasket maker. Alright, so now that both surfaces are clean, you want to place your valve cover gasket inside the valve cover. And when you place it inside the valve cover, all you want to do is press it into place press down on it once you line it up. You don't want to pull your finger across because then you'll stretch the gasket out and that will cause it to leak. So just line it up and press down and it will sit firmly in place. And you just want to double check, make sure the valve cover is sitting properly so that you won't have any leaks. And that's good. Next, what you want to do is add your gasket maker to the engine block to keep the oil from leaking out from the valve cover. Again, I would recommend placing it in these two locations. On the front of the engine, basically where the level of the engine changes, and there is a crease right here. And add some gasket maker there, and the rest of the surface, the valve cover gasket, should do its job and keep it from leaking. You don't need too much. So all you need, place it in the corner right there. Make sure it's evenly spread across. Same for the rear. And that should be enough. Before the gasket maker starts to dry up and harden, you want to go ahead and place the valve cover onto the engine. And again, working around these wires. Snug all these bolts down, not too tight. Now start from the middle of the valve cover gasket and work your way to the perimeter and around. Reinstall your air hose in the back. You should hear it click to make sure it's properly seated. Next, you're going to place your ignition coils back in. Place your cover back on, and also last, reconnect this air hose. And you should hear it click on both ends. Now you want to crank the engine and make sure that it's not leaking.